On the 22nd of May there is a Fight Night card, and the Fight Night card is main evented by Cody Garbrandt versus Rob Font. Cody Garbrandt comes into this fight with a record of 12 wins and 3 losses, while Rob Font comes into this fight with a record of 18 wins and 4 losses. Both men come into this fight off the back of their last performances, which was both a finish. Rob Font finished Marlon Rice in the first round, which was a very impressive performance, and Cody Garbrandt comes off an amazing knockout, one of the knockouts of 2020 against Rafael Assunção in the second round. So now it's time to get into the breakdown and prediction part of this video, so let's get into it. So we're going to start with Cody Garbrandt and how he can win this fight. If you look at both men, you can see that Rob Font has a 6-inch reach advantage, which is very key in this fight. Cody Garbrandt relies heavily on his power in his hands, so if he's going to try and utilise that power, you're going to have to get into Rob Font's face, because that 6-inch reach advantage is going to be very difficult to get into his face. If he's just trying to play at range, then it's not going to work. Now in my opinion, Cody Garbrandt has the fastest hands in the UFC. His boxing is like no other. He can knock anyone out on his day, so he needs to get that boxing combos straight away. He needs to get into Rob Font's face and start landing damage straight away. Now when I say he should start landing damage straight away, I don't mean that he should run out there and just start swinging absolute bombs to try and knock him out in the first round, because we all know what happens when he does that. He gets knocked out himself. So he needs to be calm, he needs to be composed, exactly like he was against Dominic Cruz. And he showed that in the Rafael Assunção fight as well. Once he stays calm and composed, he's a very, very good fighter, and he can beat anyone on his day. But he just needs to keep his head and keep to his game plan. Now when we think of Cody Garbrandt, we all think of how good his boxing is. But if you look back at his previous fights, you can see that he does have very good kicks. And in this fight, it could be vital that he uses them kicks, because of that reach disadvantage that he has, that 6-inch reach, then these kicks can play a vital role in this matchup. If he starts mixing in some leg kicks, some body kicks, and even some head kicks, it can throw Rob Font off, and if he is struggling to get in that range, then he can still land damage. Now I know it's very unlikely for Cody Garbrandt to use his wrestling, but he has got it in his locker. If you look at the Dominic Cruz fight, he lands a beautiful takedown on him. I think it was in the first or second round. And he's a very good wrestler. He can wrestle. So if he, well, I'm not saying that he will get beat on the feet, but if he has having trouble on the feet, then he can always go back to his takedowns. Now we're going to move on to how Rob Font can win this fight. And if you watch some highlights of Rob Font, you will see that he does use a lot of leg kicks, and this is going to be very key in this fight. Cody Garbrandt is primarily a boxer, and if you've seen the Dustin Poirier-McGregor fight, and there's a video on my channel of how I think the trilogy fight will go, I say of how vital them leg kicks were in that fight, because of how McGregor's stance was more of a boxing style than a kickboxing style. And Cody Garbrandt is more of a boxer, so if Rob Font uses leg kicks, then it could be a long night for Cody Garbrandt. By Rob Font utilising these leg kicks, it will stop the movement of Cody Garbrandt as well. And he does use a lot of movement in his fights. You might not realise it, but he is very, very active on the feet. So if he uses them leg kicks, his movement will be deterred. Now I mentioned earlier the 6-inch reach advantage that Rob Font has. He needs to use this. He needs to keep him away with his jab, use his kicks, and just keep him out of range, because you know what happens when Cody Garbrandt can land some punches on you. So keep him at range, because that 6-inch reach advantage is so much. It will be a very good fight if he can keep him out of arm's length. One of the key things that Rob Font needs to do is he needs to make Cody Garbrandt rattled. Once he gets rattled, his game plan goes out the window, and he starts swinging bombs and he leaves himself open to be hit himself. So he needs to make this a war, and he needs to make Cody Garbrandt forget all about his game plan. And when I said earlier about his kicks, about Rob Font's kicks I mean, he can mix that up with head kicks as well, because he has got hit by head kicks as well, Cody Garbrandt has. Against TJ Dillashaw, one rocked him, and then he forgot everything about his game plan after he got hit with that head kick, or the fight completely changed. So if Rob Font can rock him early with a kick, or even just something that will get Cody Garbrandt startled, then it'll be looking good for Rob Font. Now I've told you how both men can win this fight. I'm going to give you my prediction of how this fight will go, and I think that Cody Garbrandt will win by the second round knockout. I just think he's in a different mindset at the minute. If you look at his podcast with Joe Rogan, and just the way he's going about life, I think that is the way he fought before, when he used to get a bit startled and just go all for leather trying to knock someone out. I think that's gone. I think he's a much more calculated fighter now, so I think he gets it done in the second round. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy fight for Cody Garbrandt. I think Rob Font's going to give him a tough time for that first round and part of the second round, but in the end I think Cody Garbrandt gets it done. So now you know how I think the fight is going to go. I want you to leave in the comments how you think the fight is going to go, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, and if there's any other fights you want me to predict, then I'll leave down in the comments as well, and I'll get around to that as quick as I can. So I want to thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.